Shrapnel.
Wagwan everyone, and welcome to Film Shrapnel. I'm your host Tobias. I'm not joined by Craig today. Today I'm joined by, amongst the metal circles, the heavy metal circles, he is known as Sloth. Amongst students on drugs, he's known as WAKENBLAKE. Writer, musician, and one of my best friends, Mr. Blake Cavalier. Hello, Blake.
Ooh, yeah, hello. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
It's good to be here. I'm pretty good.
Excellent.
Can't complain. I just got to say, like, I don't know if anyone's spoken about it on the podcast before, but your podcast studio is so amazing. The way it's like overlooking the beach, and I don't know how you managed to afford this, but thanks for inviting me.
Well, I mean, thank you for coming to the studio.
And he paid for the flights as well.
I did. You know, we're moving on up in the world. Is Film Shrapnel? We're doing better every day.
Didn't you
So,
say you were going to get Joe Rogan on next week?
Yeah, Joe Rogan's coming next week. We got Elon coming the week next. Well, for those who don't know, Blake did an amazing job at Film Shrapnel's theme tune recently. I'll thank you again for that, by the way, Blake.
Yeah, it's alright. It's nothing. It's nothing. I find it fun.
Well, we're going to do something a little bit different today, Blake. Since Craig can't be with us, we're going to talk about music because number one, you're into music, and number two, Craig is like musically illiterate. He's shit with music.
Yeah, all right.
There was one time we got into a debate because he was like, yeah, you know, like the whole like electric guitar, bass and drum format is just sort of been done, hasn't it? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, there's only so much you can do with it. And I'm like, I just screamed at him the word Beatles. I was like, that's a band that proves that there's so much scope for this basic format. And yeah,
they're still doing like new stuff now. Like, I don't really follow like much band stuff nowadays, but there's a few bands that I keep hearing that have like their music doesn't sound like band music anymore. It sounds like they've created pop music using instruments. They've obviously got some sort of like electronic production involved as well. It's not just a band.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of like a hybrid between everything. But it just proves that you can't really. There's no limits to the band structure.
There really isn't. So yeah, Craig's not the right person to do this one.
I'll have to step in and replace him then.
Step up to the plate.
Sorry, Craig.
Well, for those of you out there that don't know, in England on BBC Radio 4, there's a game show called Desert Island Discs where they get celebrities to come on. Blake, you're going to be our celebrity today.
Oh yes.
Celebrities come on and they talk about if they could take an 8-track player to a desert island, what 8 songs would they take with them? We're going to do something a little bit different because we are Film Shrapnel. We're going to do 5 movie soundtracks and then just 5 movies.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
I'm quite excited to hear what your selections are going to be.
I bet we've got some things that are crossing over.
We might do, but you'll be. There's one film that I not only want the soundtrack, but I want to take the film as well.
I was sort of thinking about doing that, but then I was like, no, I want to keep it all separate. But I'll just mention that the soundtrack is like amazing or whatever in this film as well.
Yeah. Well, do you want to go first, Blake?
What are we going to start with? Soundtracks or
let's start with soundtracks. So you're on a desert island. You can only take 5 movie soundtracks with you. That's all you've got. That's all the space that you've got.
Actually, you know what? Thinking about it, I should have role played it more, and I should have imagined like me being on a desert island, and just imagined what kind of soundtracks I want to like prompt my life. Like you'd have to have something inspiring to like make you survive, I suppose.
I've got got some of that
something
going.
a bit light-hearted to keep you like your spirits up when
Yeah,
you're sitting there alone for the 243rd day.
this is it. This is all you've got
But
for
yeah,
entertainment.
I didn't do that. I literally just found my favourite soundtracks.
All right, fair enough. Well,
Right,
do you want
so
you
I'll
want to
go
go
first
first?
then.
Yeah, go on. Hit me with it.
The first one I'm going to say is Black Swan, Darren
Ooh,
Aronofsky.
interesting choice.
Um, what it is,
Tell us.
one thing I love is like performance films, but that sort of culminate in a big performance at the end.
Hmm,
Um, Darren Aronofsky's done it a couple of times. I would consider The Wrestler also a performance film.
agreed.
Like it all just builds up to that big climactic final thing that, and if they do the rest of the film right, that final performance is just like so like I don't know, it just makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. It's just
Sure, yeah.
amazing. But yeah, Black Swan, the final dance scene when they're doing Swan Lake and all the music there, combined with the dancing, it's just top-notch quality for me.
It is really good, isn't it?
Mm.
I remember when it first came out, and I had no interest in going to watch it. And my girlfriend at the time was like, "Oh no, we got to go watch this ballet movie." I'm like, "Oh fuck's sake!" And then we went, and
Was I not telling you to watch it at the time? Surely.
I think you might have been. And
Yeah, maybe you're
and
just ignoring it.
was it? Yeah, I think I was just ignoring you, just out of spite. Uh,
Yeah.
but when my missus got me to go, she hated it, and I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I really loved it, actually. She was like, that was boring. I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was bloody
There's
brilliant.
nowhere. That's the opposite of boring. I love that film.
Mm, it's very good. It's very good. Oh, that's a pretty commanding start there, Blake. I like that.
Hmm.
Nicely done.
Well, I'll hand over the torch to you.
All right. Well, okay. So I think I've got this in no particular order. So I'm gonna go for what I would keep for my sort of keeping my motivations high. Uh, although maybe we should have an asterisk on this one. I want the whole Rocky franchise, every song in every
Yeah.
Rocky movie. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'll be playing when I'm building shelters, starting fires. When I'm trying to survive. You know,
That is a good choice.
yeah. But am I allowed all of them, or do I only
Yeah.
can I only choose
No,
one?
yeah, yeah. You can have all of them.
Yeah, I'm going to go for every Rocky movie then. Is my one.
I'm sure there's probably a YouTube video that's 10 hours of the entire Rocky score of every movie.
Oh, I'm
So yeah,
sure.
that's fine.
I'm sure they've performed it live.
Yeah. Where I do Muay Thai, my coach has got a compilation of all of the Rocky montage musics.
Perfect.
So we literally sometimes when we're sparring, we'll put the compilation of the montage musics on, and it's amazing. I swear to God, there's nothing better than like reenacting Rocky while the Rocky soundtrack is playing. I swear to God.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. I used to do kickboxing and karate when I was much younger, and anytime a Rocky song came on, I get my second wind because I was this like,
Yeah, you get pumped, didn't it? You
yeah,
get
you get.
pumped.
I mean, I was this like fat kid that I would rather have been anything but working out at that given moment. But when Rocky came on, I'm like, oh no, go on then. I've I've got the eye of the tiger in me. I can fucking do this. That's it, man. Rocky. I've got a feeling, even if I could only take one movie soundtrack, I think Rocky would sort me out. The rest is just a bonus for me.
Yeah, well, it's got everything, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. Do you want to do like a movie next, or do you want to just do all the movie soundtracks first?
Yeah, let's do a film next then.
All right. So, what
Okay,
movie are you taking?
film. These are not in a particular order. I can't decide on the top, but the first film I take would be Alien.
Oh, good choice. The first Alien.
Yeah, the first Alien. I love the like horror of it.
Yeah.
Aliens is good as well, but there's something that the first film did so well that it the Alien franchise hasn't done since
The
the
first
first film.
one, the first one is superior, I think, because
Mm.
the after the second one, that there's this like need to have numerous aliens in all of them. The
Yeah, or
third,
like to evolve the alien in some
mm,
way. Like it's just stupid.
this is it. The first one's very, it's just very basic. Like there's a fucking insane alien loose on the ship. It's
Yeah, and
Jaws in space.
and they focus on the filmmaking of it. Like
Yeah.
that's the important aspect of it. Like the alien couldn't it might not even ever appear in the film,
Mm,
and you'd still be scared.
yeah.
That's how good it is. Whereas the rest of them, did you see Alien Covenant,
Yeah, I did watch it eventually. Yeah.
mate? There's a scene where the aliens like in broad daylight on top of a spaceship, like crawling around the spaceship, and we're supposed to be scared by this. It's like you look like an insect, mate.
It's not got the same impact anymore. When
Mm.
we've seen in numerous films them deal with numerous aliens and people still survive, like at least the first one, you just really didn't. You knew what the stakes were, and you know there was this sense of danger. Whereas in all the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
ones, like one alien definitely isn't that much of a threat nowadays.
But if they introduce it in the right way, it would be. It's only because
Yeah,
they've had this 7 or 8 films worth of development where there's like they've just been getting bigger and supposedly harder aliens each time that become easier and easier to kill. If
yeah,
they just went back to basics and just did a small scale, people who don't know what an alien is discover an alien on a ship. Just just do the thing that every other film does these days, and basically remake
yeah,
the first film with new actors. Get
exactly.
get Sigourney Weaver to come in and do a cameo at the end, and it'll be a good film.
It would be. I'd be on board for that. Well, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
tell you this. A mate of mine was making the same point about Jurassic Park. He was saying, you know what? If you took Jurassic Park back to a
Mm.
sort of alien, the original alien kind of, like an approach to it, where it's like they're transporting like a raptor in a boat, and it gets loose, and the whole movie's just on a boat surviving a raptor. And I was like, "Oi, that would be good! Like just one
Yeah,
raptor."
yeah, yeah.
I definitely watch that. So yeah, I think you go a bit, but let's not forget the first Alien film is not a minimal film, really. Like it's quite grandiose in places, but it's still minimal in its sort of. It's very suspenseful.
It's it's minimal in what's actually happening, but
Yeah,
grandiose in the
in
scale
design.
of it.
Yeah, and
Yeah, in
vision.
design.
Yeah, it is an excellent film. Really good
Mm.
choice, Blake. Why are you choosing Alien? Is there a reason you're choosing Alien? Or
Um,
I just
it's
like the
just one of them
film.
films I can just always go back to it and
Yeah.
watch it and enjoy it the same way.
Okay.
Not exactly the same way. Obviously, that scene when the aliens crawling down the crawl space right towards you isn't quite as scary as the first time, but
Mm.
I'm still thrilled when I see it. I'm like, yes, come on,
It's really good.
fucking eat me.
It's still when I think of John Hurt, I always think of Alien. That's the first thing I
Yeah.
think of. All right, well I'll tell you what. For my choice, I'm basically going to match you almost pound for pound. Uh, my choice, and also because of its just rewatchability that I can go back to it over and over again, is Predator. So
Oh yes.
we've got an Alien versus Predator showdown here.
I would
Um,
expect no less.
Yeah. Well, I think I showed you Predator. I fucking love it. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I think I seem to recall you showed me the First Blood, and I showed you Predator in the same night. It was a
If
pretty
that's what happened, it must have been a fucking amazing night.
yeah. We had some jungle fury going on, but Predator is one of my all-time favorite movies. I fucking love it. It really is like best Arnie film, I think one of the best sci-fi films. I think it's super underrated. I'd even put it in the same category as like, Jaws or Alien, in that
Yeah, I put it up there with Alien as well. To be honest,
yeah,
it's not. I don't think it's quite. It's not the same tone, but
different tone, but
it
it's just
is
as
just
iconic.
as good. Yeah,
Yeah, really good. And because it's the suspense, isn't it? I think Jaws, Alien, and Predator, they sort of tread the same line of suspense. Let's not forget that, like most of the first Predator film, you don't really see the Predator
yeah.
until like the sort
They're
of
just
final
shooting at
third.
the trees.
Exactly. They're just shooting. So it's super suspenseful, a lot like Jaws and a lot like Alien, where it's build up. It's all about suspense. And I think all three of these films should be had, in the same sort of, be held in the same regard. They all do it very well. But Jaws gets the most credit because it is very good. Jaws is
Mm.
excellent. All right, shall we go to our next soundtrack? Soundtrack
Yeah.
two.
All right.
Uh, what's your next
Okay.
soundtrack, Blake?
Well, you had all of the Rockies,
Yes.
so I'm going to have all of the Star Wars prequels.
Prequels.
Yeah, that's Duel of the Fates. It's Darth
Hmm.
Maul one. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
Well, so
That sh-
you could have all of the Star Wars franchise if I can have all the Rocky. I think.
I don't want all of the Star Wars franchise. I just want the prequels
All right.
because
Fair
the
enough.
sequels. I couldn't even tell you one musical note from the sequels, even though John Williams supposedly made it. I swear it's just that the shit he picked up off the cutting room floor or something. Just nothing's iconic in it.
Hmm.
But the prequels, that was when he was cooking with fire. He was just
All right.
at the
Um,
top of his game.
I'll give you that. I think that's fair enough. I think that's fair enough. It's a good choice. I've not seen Attack of the Clones, so I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what my opinions on that were, but certainly Phantom Menace and the third one, the soundtracks are excellent.
Especially when Obi-Wan and Anakin are fighting at the end of the third one, and it's just like 20 minutes straight of just John Williams
Yeah.
just fucking going mad at you.
I was surprised he didn't win an Oscar this year for The Fablemans.
What is it? Did he do the soundtrack for that as well?
He did. He is now officially the oldest person to have ever been nominated for an Oscar.
How old is he now?
No idea. Gotta be fucking old though. I mean, he did
This
Superman.
guy, mate, his fucking funeral better. ha- His funeral better be the most majestic thing that's ever taken place.
It's gonna be
Like
like
there better be a fanfare. There better be like millions of people marching
12-hour
with his
long
body being.
orchestra
Yeah,
playing the best hits.
he's probably been working on the symphony for his funeral.
Oh, how brilliant would that be? Oh,
Mate, do you remember the short story I wrote in uni? That was
what about
about a
John
guy
Williams?
who. No, it was about a guy who was dying and he like wanted to design his own funeral. He was a
Oh
film
yeah.
director who was dying, and he wants to like create his own funeral, so it's like the most epic funeral that's ever happened. And then when he's like balls deep in the planning of it, he then finds out that he's not dying, and he's like, "Oh fuck it, well I've done it now, so we may as well just go for it." So he like fakes his own death and then watches his own funeral
Mm.
from a distance, and then like some like reporter catches him watching his own funeral, and I think that was the end. Him just sort of being exposed by the reporter.
Quite like that. I do seem to remember something like that. Yeah. Solid idea. You should get round to filming that, son.
Yeah, it was a bit high budget. Part of the story involved him turning his house into a pyramid,
All
and
right.
I sort of kept it as like a twist at the end. You just sort of heard all these like little lines about like workers walking through the house and shit, and then eventually part of the funeral basically helicopters pull his house away, away, and then it's a pyramid is revealed that was underneath his house.
Fucking what? Love it though. Yeah, yeah.
I told you he'd already gone too far. There was no way he couldn't go through with the funeral after that.
Yeah, no, I respect the grind. In all fairness, I
Yeah.
respect the grind, the artistry of it. Well, I'll tell you this. My next choice, probably, I've got a choice here that I can sort of match the grandness of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I suppose this is my workout music. Have you seen Conan the Barbarian?
I think I've watched it with you, but I know the music from it. Yeah, it's all like very epic.
It's amazing.
Horns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good
Very,
choice.
very in your face, like brass band, many, many strings, thousands of sopranos
Like,
and
yeah,
tenors
like a
working
choir
together.
going like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
yeah, it's fucking amazing. I think the lyrics, if any, are mostly in Italian, but a variety of different languages.
Is it not Latin?
I've no idea. I've no idea, but I think they use a variety
Usually,
of different
anything that
languages.
sounds Italian to me, in like that's in a film that's not set in Italy, I just automatically think is meant to be Latin.
Yeah, yeah, that does seem to be because we don't really know what Latin would have sounded like anyway.
Do we not? What
I don't
sound like
think so.
fucking parcel tongue or something?
Well, it's a dead
We've got
language,
the
isn't it?
words.
Yeah, we
No,
got
they
the
learn
words.
it in like posh schools.
Yeah, but we don't know how it would have been spoken. We can just have an educated guess, like
I
because we,
suppose.
like silent P in like the word pneumatic. Like
Yeah.
we've actually no reason to believe that it wasn't pronounced. It might have been pronounced. It could have been pneumatic. We just assume because that just sounds weird to us. Oh, that
Well,
must be a silent P.
surely, like someone like the Pope knows.
Mate, well, he's Italian though.
No, he just lives in Italy, isn't he? Polish, or is the current
There's a
Pope actually
bias.
Italian?
I'm not sure. I think he might be Polish actually. Now that you said that.
Well, maybe the last one was Polish. I don't know. I don't keep up with like popes.
No,
Apart from the
nor
Pope's
do I.
Exorcist, have you seen the trailer for the Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe?
No.
Oh, mate, have a look at that. It's an Exorcist film, and he plays the priest, and it's like
Right.
set in the Vatican.
Is it an Exorcist film within the Exorcist like franchise, or is it like
No,
its
no,
own
I don't
thing?
think so. It's its own thing.
All right, I'm watching the trailer now. I don't know if you can hear it.
Not really. I basically only saw half the trailer because when I watched Scream the other day, I went to get a drink and then I came back and this was on. I was like, oh shit, this looks sick. He's such a legend. He just comes back and does like one film a year. Just like, I feel like doing an Exorcist film this year.
Oh, it's apparently based on a true story or based on actual events.
I think every Exorcist film says that because it's based on like the Bible.
I suppose so. Is that like the loophole? Anything religious based,
Yeah,
you can say, is based on a true story.
yeah, yeah. Because you can't argue that it's not true without causing like mass offence.
It's coming out this month. I'm gonna pause the trailer there. I'm gonna get round to watching that. I might
Should
get
we
in the
should we all
cinema.
watch that and then do a podcast about it?
Yeah, let's make that the first triple pod. Me, you, and Craig will do
Yeah,
the Pope's Exorcist. All right, sweet. Okay, well, are you ready for your next film?
yeah, okay. Is it top? It's film now, isn't it? One of the top
Yeah,
films.
your next film.
Okay. Next, well, going down a similar sort of route because it's just sort of my vibe, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
my next
Excellent.
one is The Shining
Mm-hmm.
because
Excellent choice.
it's yeah, it's a perfect film. Um, when I first saw it, that scene when he's in the in the bathroom with the woman, and he's like hugging her, and she turns into the old decomposing woman. That
Mm.
was the scariest scene I'd ever seen in my life. And
It's terrifying.
yeah, but obviously now it's not as scary, but it's just stuck with me forever. And obviously Stanley Kubrick, legend and god.
Kubrick is great. I was really considering whether I should put A Clockwork Orange in this list because I love it and I think Kubrick is great. But Kubrick hasn't made the cut for me in these ones, I'm afraid. So I'm glad you've got him covered. In all fairness,
Yeah,
Shining is
someone's got to
excellent.
put him in.
Yeah, Shining really is excellent. Great choice. I wouldn't.
I
I would,
saw.
It's not my favourite Kubrick though. I do like
Really?
yeah, I do like Clockwork Orange, and I do like 2001: Space Odyssey. I think they're both perfect as well.
Yeah, he made a lot of perfect films.
He was just untouchable. He was so good.
Yeah, I saw like an extended edition in of The Shining in BFI cinema,
Oh yeah.
and basically the film was exactly the same, apart from like one or two extra shots at the end. You know when they, during the end, like the climax, when they're sort of going
In
through
the
the hotel and
maze.
they're seeing all the mad shit and like,
Yeah.
they see the bear giving the guy a blowjob.
Mhm.
Another thing that they would have seen was he just would have opened the door and there was just like the old party from like the 1929 or something. All the ghosts were partying, and that seemed to be the only extra scene.
Mm. Did you get round to watching Doctor Sleep?
I did. I watched it in the cinema, and I I don't know if it's because I don't know if this is just me or if this is a thing what just happens to everyone, but sometimes I just can't stay awake when I'm watching a film, and if it's not a completely engaging, I might fall asleep.
I mean, I thought it was okay, but I think the problem is it's close. It's true to the book, but also tries to act as a sequel to the movie of The
To the
Shining.
film, which
Yeah,
wasn't true to the book. Yeah,
yeah. So
I, d-
it's hard
I felt
to
the
say.
whole vampire thing with the woman with the top hat or whatever. I was like, what the hell has this got to do with The Shining? Like,
Well, hang on a
I,
minute.
I get it that like obviously the books are written how they are, but the film is like it's its own thing.
Well,
There's no.
but what has The Shining? The fact that the kid has a Shining has got nothing to do with the plot of the movie.
Yeah, true.
It has absolutely it has no weight on anything
Yeah,
that happens in the movie. All it does, the only function that the kid having the Shining serves, is he connects to the groundskeeper who like realizes
and
he's
gets
in
him
danger,
killed.
runs, and then immediately gets an axe in his head. So like, yeah, the function of the Shining actually serves no purpose in the Shining. So I don't really mind it, I guess, in Doctor
Hang
Sleep
on a second.
because
This is something I need to just think about because I've never thought about that before. Surely,
it's just some Stephen King bullshit. It's the shit he always does. You just throw shit
but
in there and hope it sticks. Oh yeah, this kid's telepathic, by the way. Just FYI. Just throw shit in for fun, and then everyone calls him like a storytelling
a
genius, and I'm like,
genius.
it's mad. It's
No,
mad.
no, no. Listen, actually, the reason why he's a genius is not because of his basic ass plots. Is actually
But
if you read one of his novels, they're impossible to put down because of the voice of the novel. That's why
yeah,
he's a genius. It's like the way he writes. It's just so engaging and
yeah.
like imaginative. But his plots are fucking dog shit. Like we could come up with a Stephen King plot right now. I'm just gonna look around the room. Right, a candle. There's a candle with an angel on it. Okay, right. There's a guy who makes candles for a living, and one day, one of the candles that he makes seems to have a magical property, that teleports him back to the 50s,
Mm-hmm.
where he finds his great granddad, who also really loved candles. But then his great granddad realizes that life's better in 2023, so his great granddad tries to travel forwards and take his great
Take his
grandson's
place.
place
Oh.
in life. And then something, he kills him with a candle,
Mm.
you know, and he's telepathic. Job done.
Cool. I love it. Stephen King would be proud.
Yeah.
Although you need to work on the voice there.
Yeah, I wasn't writing it in the novel way. That was if it was a Stephen King movie.
Yeah. You got to have a track with a Green Goblin face in there somewhere. I don't know if you've seen Maximum Overdrive. I've not seen it, but I'm aware that it's a track with a Green Goblin face.
Is this a film that he wrote, or is it a book that he wrote?
I think it. I think it's a book he wrote, but it was his directorial debut or something.
Oh God.
But I haven't seen it. I'm keen to watch it for the pod. Actually, it's the sort of thing that Craig would want to do.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
sounds like it would be quite good.
yeah. All right. Well, Stephen
Do
King
your one.
and Kubrick covered in one go. Nicely done. I suppose for my pick, I'll also pick a film that I think is just a masterpiece and perfect. And I know you know me quite well, so you probably know what's coming. Do you want to hazard a guess?
Sorry, what was the clue again?
This is like one of, if not my all-time favorite movies. So if you know me well,
Oh, it's The Mask.
no,
Ace
no,
Ventura.
no, fuck off. I do love it. I do love Jim Carrey, but Jim Carrey hasn't made the
Oh,
cut here.
it's going to be Pulp Fiction.
It is going to be Pulp Fiction, yeah. I just
Yeah.
it is perfect. It's as perfect as a film can be. It's it it, it's 9.9 out of 10, and no one's hit 10 yet. It's just
Yeah.
great. It's really good.
I'm glad
All round.
I'm glad someone put Quentin in here, because it seems like me and you alternated with Kubrick and Quentin.
Yeah.
Just one of each, because I haven't done a Quentin.
I would have liked to put Kubrick in here, but I felt like I had to be true to myself, and like Pulp Fiction really is my favorite film. So just for like rewatchability, I'm going to go Pulp Fiction because it's also a great film. I think it's probably the only like really very very good film on my list. Everything else is there for sort of rewatchability purposes because you're going to be on a desert island, so
Yeah.
it needs to be something you're not going to get bored of. So yeah, Pulp Fiction's my choice.
Remember, I
Love
did
it.
my dissertation was about Pulp Fiction,
Oh, was it?
where I basically took apart the film and put it all in chronological order, and then um, sort of analysed the film in that order rather than the order that we see it, to see if any sort of different meanings came about from it.
Oh yeah,
And
interesting.
I can't remember what I came up with. There was something to do with Vincent, that the way that we see it in the film sort of makes it different to how we actually should see it, but I can't remember what it was. I should have done a bit more research and got my dissertation out.
I suppose Vincent's the character we see the most, but doesn't really go through any character arc at all. He doesn't develop as a character in any segment. He's
Yeah,
quite stagnant, whereas everyone
yeah.
else seems to have a learning curve. You know.
Yeah, Vincent's the same man he is at the end that he is at the beginning. But then, what is the end and what is the beginning? Because I remember when I put it all back together again, there were some surprising things,
Well, the
and maybe Vincent does have an arc that we aren't completely aware of because
maybe.
of the mismatched chronology.
I mean, we know. So what? In chronological order, the last scene would be Bruce Willis getting on the bike with the French girlfriend, and they drive away. That would be the end of the film, wouldn't it?
And they're what? as he's just gotten away from
He's
Ving
just
Rhames.
shot. He just shot John Travolta, and then the Ving Rhames basement gimp. Bring out the gimp.
Yeah.
You know the guy who the police officer Zed. That's the bad guy in The Mask. Now that you mention The Mask.
That was it.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I saw a video on like Facebook or something yesterday that was like, could you imagine this in 2023? And it was, I think it's from, is it Me, Myself and Irene when Jim Carrey's a policeman?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that scene when he's like walking down the road and then there's the woman who's breastfeeding and then all of a sudden Jim Carrey's there like
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, you wouldn't get away with that now. Well,
what a fucking
apparently,
film.
you know, the first Ace Ventura film recently got backlash because a huge plot point is a man is disguising himself as a woman, and when it's revealed, the whole police force start puking because we're led to believe that she's like seduced them all individually. so they've all snogged her. So when they find out she's a man, everyone starts vomiting. And so like
how
so this
controversial.
isn't it just? See, but back in the 90s, which is not too long ago in retrospect, it's probably funnier now. It's funnier now because of how culturally insensitive it is. But my God, it does make me laugh. It does make me laugh that a film so old is starting to become controversial, and it's like it's an old film. It's mad. No, I don't think anyone really bothers shouting at Birth of a Nation for existing. You know,
Yeah,
we
but
we
no
can
one really knows about Birth of a Nation other than
well, that's
people who went to
probably
did film studies and were shown it by our teachers. Like, unfortunately, guys, today we've got to show you the most racist film in existence because it basically heralded the dawning of a new age of cinema.
It is very racist. But then the director, I forget what was his name, D.W. Griffith, who directed it,
Yeah.
and his follow-up film was a 4-hour film called Intolerance, and it was basically him going, "I'm not a racist." He spent 4 hours of your life trying to convince you he's not actually racist.
Oh, that sounds riveting.
Dear. All right, shall we move on to the next soundtrack?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, can I go first on this one? I'm just going to get this out of the way.
Yeah. Go for it.
Well, since I've just said Pulp Fiction, I'm also going to say the Pulp Fiction soundtrack for because this one's going to provide us with variety. There's so much going on in the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. So many different like excellent tracks, individual of themselves, and also working together with the film. It's just a great soundtrack. It really is. So Pulp Fiction soundtrack, I've really got not much more to say about it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack.
I can't say anything to it either. Obviously, Quentin Tarantino's pretty good with all of his soundtracks.
He is. It was close for me because I was considering Jackie Brown. I do love the Jackie Brown soundtrack, and I was also considering Reservoir Dogs. But Pulp Fiction, it really is just excellent choices of music throughout. You know, it really is just, you know, if anyone has ever tried to make a Spotify playlist and they think that there's an artistry, well, Quentin Tarantino definitely knows because Pulp Fiction is just the perfect Spotify playlist. What's your next soundtrack?
My next soundtrack is... Okay, the next soundtrack is The Terminator.
Ooh.
The first one. So it's not just about the main theme. The main theme is epic, but I just love the score, like all of that, like disgusting synth.
What was it?
Sounding stuff.
Is it Paul Verhoeven or John Verhoeven or something like that?
What, doing the sound? No, it was.
Yeah.
I saw it last night when I was looking it up. It's I think it was a Dutch-sounding name. Let me just have a look.
I think it's the same guy who did what's the other Arnie film? Total Recall. I think it's the same.
Brad Fiedel.
I don't know.
But it just sounds like one guy on a synthesizer, just going like. Oh, I love it, man. I love it.
It's amazing.
Do you remember the soundtrack? Hey, do you remember the soundtrack I did for your film in uni?
I do.
That was heavily inspired by Terminator, especially that running scene when you were like. When you beat the guy up for his phone and then like run away.
I know. Oh, you know what? I still don't have a copy of that.
It's just lost media. Surely there's something somewhere. Wasn't there a Dropbox or something with something?
I'm gonna have to get back in touch with the old uni and see if it survived.
I'll always remember watching it in the cinema.
Yeah.
Thinking, mate, that sounded sick. And then the film ends. There's no credits because you were like, I'm an artist. I don't need to put credits. I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough, yeah. And then that fucking was it Jill Daniels come up and was like, yeah, I loved it. Apart from the soundtrack. And I was just like, yeah, cheers. I also loved your film about a fly in Greece. So that was really engaging.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't too keen on her hot takes.
Yeah, she was rubbish.
I thought the soundtrack was fucking ace. I thought it was a job well done. Thank you for that, Blake. Some lost media.
You're welcome.
Maybe we'll find it.
It will come up one day.
Let's hope, because I would like to watch it again. If anything, just to, if it is out there, make sure it's destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it is out there, I'll just find it to destroy it. I don't need people seeing it.
I will always remember. I was sitting in the editing room, and there was some scene where you were like fucking fiddling around with the electric thing because you had the blackout, and then you were like fiddling around with the you know the electric meter where you're like turning it on and off over and over again. Yeah, the fuse box. And literally, it's a 35-second long scene of you just turning this thing up and down. And I was like, man, you need to cut that scene down a bit, man. You're really losing momentum. And I think the guy that was doing the film with you was like really adamant that he wanted to keep the 35-second long switching the fuse box scene for like artistic integrity.
I'm not sure. It's been a while. It might have been me. It might have been me trying.
No.
I don't know. I really don't know. It
trying to do a David Lynch with a 4-minute sweeping the floor scene.
Hey, look. I mean, we cut out me brushing my teeth. There was a brushing teeth scene.
Nobody gives a fucking shit how long a scene is.
Oh dear, yeah. No, it was pretty bad. But I think there was a good idea there, for sure. But yeah, execution was definitely it was £0 budget, and it absolutely shows.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Do you know what that film reminds me of?
Go on.
Hassan's film. Similar production value to the one that we did with.
Old one.
Yeah, that's also lost media as well.
No. You can find it on YouTube. I've seen it recently.
What?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
No.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's called The Switch.
Oh no! I'm searching it up right now. Oh, mate, I didn't think that still existed.
Yeah, it's out there. That's not lost media. That is out there.
That was awful.
I'll tell you this. I think it was my first year of uni. This group made a film, and it was about a guy who accidentally killed, accidentally knocked someone out, and he's like, "Oh shit, I need to kill him," sort of thing for some reason. So he calls his mate up, and his mate his mate likes this shit. So I don't know. So I played the mate, and so when I show up, I just know instinctively what to do in a situation where you've got a guy, you need to turn him into a body and then get rid of him. For whatever reason, I'm just this guy, very open about my enjoyment of killing people. And I don't know what it's called, but I know it's out there somewhere. I know somewhere on YouTube there is this short film of me, trying, helping a murder, and I'm definitely way more of a murderer than the other guy. I have no idea what it's called. I think it's called Average Joe or something. But yeah, that was quite fun. I got to channel my inner Dahmer. I got to do my Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never gotten a chance to actually act properly. I'm always doing some bullshit. Like there was another one that I did where I was just like I was like a love rival. I think it was another one of Hassan's films, maybe in first year, or it might have been another guy. And I was like the love rival for this girl, but I basically only appeared in one scene saying hello, and then in a dream fight scene where it was like an anime fight scene, and then I never even saw the finished product.
No,
just want to be able to like do some method acting for 6 weeks and produce a Joker.
Of course, everyone wants to be paid in full to spend 6 weeks method acting. You know, I'm researching the role of a bank thief. So I'm going to start. I've bought a bunch of masks, all of them a variety of different presidents, and I bought a shotgun, and but don't worry, I'm researching a role. Don't worry, everyone. It's not real. It's not real. I'm researching a role.
As long as you've got a camera following you around, it's fine.
I will say though, Blake, I think it's nice that Arnold Schwarzenegger has had ample representation in this podcast.
Yeah, he's been all over the place.
We've had Terminator soundtrack, we've had the Conan soundtrack, and I would bring Predator as well. So that is there's a lot of Arnie in here. Love you, Arnie. In Arnie. Please be a guest on the podcast.
Yeah, has Arnie listened to the podcast yet?
Arnie will make an appearance, I'm sure. It's only a matter of time. You know,
you should do an Arnie special.
I mean, of course, at some point, I'll get round to it. It's just convincing Craig to have to sit through a bunch of Arnie films, because I don't think I want to watch one Arnie movie. I want to watch all of them.
Yeah, you've got to do like an eight like film marathon and do like an 8-hour podcast.
Yeah, or like a 24-hour live stream of just Arnie. You know, I'd be down for that. And you know what? There wouldn't be a moment's silence. He is the best Batman villain.
Okay.
I will die on that hill. I'll die on that hill. Well, I suppose speaking of Batman, I've got written down Dark Knight, but I'm not going to say Dark Knight. I've just got to bring
for soundtrack or for favorite.
Is it soundtrack? Are we doing soundtrack?
No, I think you're on. No,
are we doing movie?
You did your last. You did soundtrack first last, didn't you?
Oh, I did. Okay, yeah. So it's movie. All right. Okay, I'll save Dark Knight, but it's not going to be Dark Knight. So no, don't worry. It's not a spoiler. All right then. I suppose I'm going to use my next one is for practicality and for morale.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm bringing Castaway with Tom Hanks. Because
so you're using it as like a guide.
Exactly. If you were on a desert island, right? Like ideally, you want to have a Bear Grylls box set handy, but that's not in this
or
game.
Ray Mears.
Yeah, So we can't. So we can't like. Unfortunately, we're stuck with Castaway.
Yeah, I can dig. I can dig.
Yeah, and again, I think it's good for morale. It'll keep your hopes up on the desert island.
Keep your hopes up that one day you'll return home to a broken marriage and a miserable life.
Yeah, but you've also made
That is
one
how
of
it ends,
the
isn't it?
closest friends you've ever had in Wilson.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that
he buys
relationship
another
is what.
Wilson.
That's
That's
it.
how
That
bad
that
it gets.
exactly. That's the relation. That's the heart of the movie. The relationship with Wilson.
So is it? It's a favourite film now, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
The next one I'm picking, surprisingly, very similar to a lot
Mm-hmm.
of previous picks we've already had. Rambo 4, the one that was,
Ooh,
the one with old man
just
Stallone,
Rambo.
and it's just called Rambo
In the one in Myanmar.
or Burma. I think it's Burma.
Yeah.
Or are they the same country?
Same. Is it, I mean,
Same country,
same
or
territory.
is that
Yeah.
like a a controversial thing I just said?
I mean,
I think it's
it's
like there's a
controversial
civil
in
war,
some
isn't
way.
there? Like,
There's a massive civil war going on, yeah.
yeah,
But in all fair, I'm not sure if it's insensitive to say Myanmar or Burma. I'm pretty sure
I
Myanmar
think
is the
it's like.
correct vernacular.
Mm. Anyway, let's get off the politics side and
In this,
onto the
let's get off.
the
Yeah,
the
I'll
killing
cut that
side of
for you,
it.
Blake. Don't worry. I'm not. I'm not going to cut it. I'm not going to cut it. It's all staying in.
I'll never be able to visit like Burma. No.
Well, I believe. Well, the thing we can't really get off the topic of the politics. I actually believe that Rambo is banned in Myanmar because it shows the
Not because of this film.
government in a bad light. Yeah,
Well, I'm not surprised. They look like absolute cunts in this film.
yeah. I mean, I'm not too comfortable to say anything more than that. I think. I think.
It's like I need to renew my visa soon.
Yeah, this is it. Anytime I talk about Rambo, I can't help but think of Danny DeVito and It's Always Sunny,
Yeah.
where he just starts talking like
Yeah.
he just recalls stories from his life, and they're like, "That's John Rambo."
Yeah.
Like, no, that was me. Don't hunt men.
Did you watch
They
that
drew first
other?
blood.
Did you watch that other Final Blood?
Oh, is there
The
a
new
fifth one
the
now?
new Rambo? Yeah. Oh, you've not seen it?
No, no, I've not seen it.
Tobias, that is
Is it
disappointing.
good?
Well, no, it's
Is it
terrible.
really good?
No, it's
Well,
terrible.
then fuck
It's
you. I knew it would be. I knew
bro,
it would be.
do you know what the final? Right, so I'll give you the plot synopsis. Is he's back in America for some reason, working in a ranch, or he owns a ranch or some shit, and he gets in some shit with the cartel. Yes,
Right.
John
Okay.
Rambo in his
Typical Stallone shit.
final Rambo film gets into some shit with the Mexican cartel because what are they the
So he's
one?
turned it more into
Are,
Cobra.
are they the one like group of bad guys that you can like have in a film and not get like killed for nowadays? They shouldn't
I
be.
mean, well, Die Hard 5 had the Russians. So you can have Russians, I think.
Oh yeah, you can have Russians again now.
So Die
But
Hard
yeah,
5
anyway,
had Russians. Wouldn't surprise me if Rambo 6 will have Russians. Rocky
no,
always had Russians historically.
there's no Rambo 6 device. He dies at the end, and the final kill, mate.
Until the next one, though.
Yeah, the film is terrible apart from the final kill, which is he rips the heart out of a guy who's alive and like kills him like that
Still
in front
beating in
of
his
him.
hand.
Yeah, it's that classic image.
This is
But
fun.
they do it in
This
in
is
a really
fun.
like epic way.
All right. Okay, I'll watch Rambo 5. I'll do it.
It's rubbish. It's terrible.
I'll get round to it. But
It is terrible.
this is it. I feel like Stallone always has he's got one good old man film per franchise.
Series. Yeah,
But it's
and then
when
he
he
just fucks it up by doing
but it's
another
once
one.
he does a new one. Yeah. Okay. So my next soundtrack, I suppose I sort of spoiled it earlier. I've written down Dark Knight, but really, it's just a placeholder for Christopher Nolan. Is it Hans Zimmer doing the
Hans
soundtrack?
Zimmer. Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Chris
So
Nolan
it's
X
either
Hans
like
Zimmer.
Inception. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
So
close to
it's
putting this
either
on my list.
Inception or well, which one? Dark Knight.
No, the exact concept that you just came up with, Hans Zimmer to
Yeah.
X Christopher Nolan, is just like a golden combination. But you know, Hans Zimmer
really
didn't
is.
do Tenet. It was just some other guy who did
No, I
Tenet.
know. Yeah.
And I think Tenet, the soundtrack for Tenet's pretty good, other than the fact that you can't hear anyone
amazing.
talking.
No, but I agree though. I think the soundtrack is excellent. But I just think because Dark Knight really does hit in like a mad way. Anytime Batman comes up and then that fucking Batman theme it just hits different. It's amazing. Yeah. But I do think Inception's an amazing soundtrack, and it didn't they partner up for Interstellar as well? Interstellar's amazing, the soundtrack. So it's really
the other one
it's
as
difficult
well.
to separate it all.
And Dunkirk.
Which one did he do? Prestige? Dunkirk, of course.
Prestige and Memento might be a bit early in his career to be getting hands.
Well, I think Prestige was after Batman Begins, but before Dark Knight.
Was it? Oh, okay.
I think so. Don't hold me to it. But I think that's where he met Bale and Michael Caine. That's when they started working together, and then they did Prestige, and then like every other movie after that.
It's like they did it in
just
become
Nolan.
They did it during a break during Batman Begins. So just like, right, let's go and make a quick film while we're waiting for them to set up the next scene. Yeah, that twist at the end, I was like, what? But it's the kind of one where I don't know if I'll ever watch it again because of the twist.
I don't know if you've seen Hereditary, but that's one of those films where even after knowing the twist, you can still appreciate the movie upon rewatching it. So I do like Hereditary for that. There's rewatchability for that.
What's the twist of Hereditary? That the girl was the fucking reincarnated king.
The girl was the reincarnated king, but he can't be in a girl's body, so she was just a temporary vessel until the boy could get held of, and then they put her in the boy, and then the boy becomes like this fucking demon king. And so like it was all because I thought when I first started watching the movie, I thought it was a very, very good allegory for someone with mental health. Like I really felt that throughout the whole sort of opening 2 acts of the movie. And even if you had done it like that, it still would have been a really good film. But then you get once you get the twist, upon rewatching it, you can see all the little hints that they've laid out for you. But on your first watching, you just see this really sort of heartbroken woman in a difficult place in her life, and she's just she could have easily just been mentally ill. And I thought the movie was strong as that. And then once you get the twist, it's a whole other movie.
I've seen it twice, and to be honest, I never viewed that as a twist. I just saw that as like plot points. And the second time I watched it, I wasn't really looking to find clues. But also, I think the second time I watched it, I didn't fully remember it from the first time. So maybe that's why.
I think I watched it twice in quick succession.
Have you seen the trailer for
I watched it once. Who?
Have you seen the trailer for Beau is Afraid, the new Ari Aster film with Joaquin Phoenix?
No.
It looks like
wait, maybe I have.
It looks like it's going to be a banger. It's that one where Joaquin Phoenix is like old and young.
Yeah, okay, I have. I think I have seen the trailer for this. Is that an Ari Aster then? I didn't
Yeah,
know that was him. Mate, have you
yeah.
seen his first movie, his short film?
Yes, the one about the family, the one the
Oh,
black family.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the son is like, I don't even
Oh,
know.
should we even reveal it? I think, mate. Listen, if you haven't seen, what's it called? I think it's called
I
the
think
problem with the Johnsons or something.
I think something like that. Yeah,
The Hang on, let me just search it up.
I think
If
it's
you're
something
listening
like
to
that. The
this
problem with the
and you
Johnson.
haven't seen Ari Aster's first short film, look it up on YouTube now.
I don't know. I don't know if it's something that we should usher people to. I mean, like NSFW, folks at home. Like, feel free to watch it. It is on YouTube, I believe, in
Yeah,
full. So feel
yeah,
free
it
to
is.
watch it. It is out there, but it's
It's
fucking
called
nuts.
The Strange Thing About the Johnsons.
Oh, it's more than just fucking strange.
Yeah, we won't say anything
It's
about it.
nuts.
Just have a watch.
It's not safe for the podcast, really. And like it's really anything goes on the podcast. And even I'm like, yeah, you know what? This one, just look it up. Just look it up. If you don't want to watch it, just look up the plot of the movie, and strap yourself in. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a bit of a nutcase, but he does put out some good films. I really like Midsomner as well.
Midsummer, I was so pissed off. I was looking forward to that film so much. I went to the cinema to watch it. The trailers finish, and the lights stay on in the cinema, and
What
it's playing through the intro of the film, and I was like, is this just like some sort of like aesthetic decision
glitch
that
in the Matrix?
Ari Aster's made because it's set in Sweden or something, and it's going to be like light all the time
Oh, it's bright, huh?
because the sun never goes down. I was like, yeah, this must be a creative decision that they've made. And then about 2 minutes in, I was like, no, I can't see anything that's happening on this fucking screen. So I had to go out, find someone, tell them that the lights were on, and then literally another 5 minutes later, then the lights switched off and they didn't even restart the film. And I was like,
You're joking.
I was already pissed off at the beginning of the film, and then it was just like I just wasn't able to give it my full attention and my full appreciation. I loved it. The magic mushroom scenes was just so realistic for what
Yeah,
it's actually like.
they were. It's probably the most accurate I've seen on film. I think he was in an interview and he was saying that he sees Midsomner as a comedy,
I
which is
saw that the other
interesting.
day. He was saying because someone was saying they laughed and they shouldn't have laughed at a sex scene, and he was like, no, but it was supposed to be a funny scene.
Yeah,
I don't know if he was
it's.
saying the whole
I
film
think
was
he. No, he's. So he said that this film. I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that he said it was an out and out comedy. And when you look at the film, I think it's interesting to note that it's very much like that there are these sort of paganistic ideas, and there are that there's a scene where they put him in like a bear suit, and it just has
yeah,
super Wicker Man vibes, like Nick Cage's Wicker Man in particular. And I found it interesting that when Nick Cage was interviewed about the Wicker Man, and they were like, "Oh, people say it's pretty shit, and like people are laughing at you." And Nick Cage was like, "Well, it just surprises me that they don't assume that we're also in on the joke." So it's like that would imply that they'd set out to actually make something funny or comical, um,
yeah.
just
But
disturbing at the same time. So, and apparently in the original draft, they were going to put Nick Cage in the Wicker Man in the bear suit that he had on. They were going to leave him in the bear suit and put him in the Wicker Man. And so it's interesting to me that Midsomner has the exact same ending of a guy being forced into a bear suit and then burnt alive within this structure. as a sacrifice. So it's basically the same thing as the Nick Cage Wicker Man, and both of which, like, certainly the Nick Cage one is held in sort of low esteem as like sort of accidentally funny because of how bad it is, and this one is like heralded as like a pretty damn good sort of high concept horror film. Um, and maybe that the two are not too far apart, but there's a huge separation between them. But it's really not that different from one another.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Where were we, by the way? I said the
Uh,
Nolan soundtracks. Have you had a soundtrack yet?
no, it's my turn for soundtrack. So my next soundtrack is gonna be Tron Legacy, baby. Daft Punk
Ooh, nice choice.
doing the whole thing. The soundtrack got released before the film, and I remember listening to it, and I was like, "Oh shit, this film is gonna be epic." And then the film was decent, but the soundtrack is
Nah, it's shit.
what makes it. I appreciated the film a
Yeah,
lot
I
more when
think
it
the
came out.
soundtrack is
Watching it
excellent.
recently is very basic. It's like,
It doesn't hold up at all.
yeah,
I think the
it's
first one holds
it's
up better.
very basic. Well,
Yeah,
it doesn't hold up in what
I think the
sense? As
first
in,
one
like, the
is
effects don't hold up, or as in just
as
as a film?
as as a movie,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
as a film, it's
It's
just
basic.
far better. Mm. No, yeah, I think that's a good choice. Like I say, a soundtrack way better, like deserving to be in a better movie.
Yeah, I agree. Although I watched it in cinema in 3D, and it was decent in 3D. It made you forget about the lackluster story.
Mm. Yeah, maybe I should have watched it in 3D. I watched it on like the TV when when it came on like ITV3 or
Yeah,
something.
with like half an hour of adverts in between each scene.
Yeah. All right. Tron Legacy, good choice. Should we go to the next movie? Do you want to go
Yeah,
first, or shall I? Shall I
yeah,
go
okay.
first?
I can go first.
All right.
So I realised when I was doing this that like, if this is meant to be for a desert island, I'm having a pretty depressing time so far with Alien, The Shining, and Rambo. So my next one is a comedy that I've probably watched this film the most in my entire life. It's Ali G in the House.
Ah, what a great film!
Yeah.
Great film. Great
Um,
choice.
I could just recall the entire
That's
film off
like
by heart, pretty
that's
much.
your rewatchable film.
Yeah.
What is
It's
it? What is it? There's so many lines. Respect pa.
yeah.
Respect pa, bruv. You must all respect pa. You all start respect parting each other.
There's just
Yeah,
one
I love
common
Ali
word
G.
you need to do. RESTEP. Restepa.
That's
Yeah,
what
no,
I
it's
said.
classic.
Respect pa. Yeah, it's great.
Martin Freeman,
It's great.
really out of place
Super young.
in one of his
Yeah,
early roles.
I
Like,
know.
just not really, shouldn't really be there, but
And
mate, it works.
it does, yeah, no, he does a good job in all fairness.
Mm.
I always find that Martin Freeman always feels out of place in movies for the most part, and yet it
Yeah.
still works. But it just doesn't feel right. He always feels like he should be in like even when you see him pop up in like sitcoms or even like sketch shows, he's always out of place. He's
But
just
why
that
is
actor
it?
that always
What,
seems
what
out of place.
what is his iconic role?
I s
Like, what is he known for that makes us think he's out of place everywhere else? Because I don't
I,
think it's The Office.
well, so I suppose The Office is where it would start, obviously, but like I feel that he really sort of got noticed by Hollywood, at least, I think, when he did Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is
Right,
probably the
yeah,
most
yeah.
Martin Freeman character he's ever
Mm.
played. I suppose he doesn't, but that literally is a movie about a guy who's completely out of place with everything else around him. Like, that's the whole point of the film. So maybe that's it. Maybe just that has carried over onto all of his other films. There's just too much baggage. But Martin Freeman will forever look out of place in movies. Have you seen? I'm guessing you haven't seen any of these like new Marvel superhero films.
No,
Well,
no,
he's in the Black Panther movies. Is
as
Martin Freeman, and he plays. No one. He plays like an American CIA guy. But like
oh,
even his
fuck.
American accent, like it just doesn't feel like any American accent I've ever heard. It definitely
What,
sounds American. I just
what do
don't
you remember
know
Fargo?
if it's. Yeah, I remember Fargo. Same
It's quite,
problem.
yeah, it's quite good in that actually, but like it's just so out there with the voice, kind of
Yeah,
takes you out of it a little bit.
I suppose we're just so used to him playing English. This is the thing. I think he just does play out of place characters. I think that's just his thing. Love Actually, even he's like a porn star, but
That's
like
it, mate. That's it. I was trying to think. It wasn't there. What is the old British comedy film that he was in? Is it Love Actually? Or was
Love
there something
Actually,
older
yeah,
than
he's
Love
in that.
Actually that he was in where he was like, the typical
Uh,
British loser falling in love with a girl type film?
he, I know he used to. He definitely was in like some old sketch shows, and I know Love Actually. I don't know if he's in anything else. I know, I know that Hollywood took big note. I think he got really big out in Hollywood when he started doing Sherlock, and that's how Benedict Cumberbatch became big as well in the States. Is that Sherlock did quite well? He played Watson,
That is actually quite good, that one.
but yeah, I don't really know. I haven't watched it. But I know I can't really think of any more early stuff for him. Not really.
What's your next film?
This one is my sort of really sort of optimistic, you know, uh, like spectacle movie. I'm bringing Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 with Doctor
Oh,
Octopus and Tobey
yeah,
Maguire
nice. That's not.
because again, maybe not one of the greatest films ever made, but in terms of like perfect films, this film as a film is just perfect in the same way that The Matrix is just perfect. You know, there's no fault in this movie. I just can't find the problem with Spider-Man 2. It's perfect. It might not be the best film ever made, but it's one of the most
Yeah,
perfect
it's another
films.
film I haven't watched
It's
for quite a
excellent.
long time. Spider-Man 2.
And I want an extended cut as well. If you go on YouTube now, you can look up the Doctor Octopus fight on the train, and like they cut like 10, 15 minutes of material, and it's just fully CGI effects. Like they completed everything, they just cut it for time. But there's so much of that fight that they cut out, and that's why Spider-Man is so sort of beat up by the end of it, at the end of the scene. And like in the theatrical release, he takes a few hits,
You still
but
there?
in
Your
the
voice
in this
is.
extended cut, he literally gets hit by a train, and that's why he's so beat the fuck up by the end of it. So yeah, I want the extended Spider-Man 2. I want nothing on the cutting room floor. I want everything.
So,
Give me everything.
so your voice was cutting out there. Did you say
Give
that
me more
Spider-Man
pictures of
gets?
Spider-Man.
Were you saying that Spider-Man gets hit by a train in the
Yeah,
extended?
Spider-Man gets hit by a train. But yeah, that's my cinematic pick. We
So
have
is there
one left from
actually?
each category, Craig. I'll just call you Craig then. Sorry, Blake.
That's all right. Oh, I can be
We
Craig if you want me to be Craig.
substitute Craig for today. We got one from each category left. Uh, let's do soundtrack next. But do you want to start?
Yeah, all right. My final one. is The Fountain by Darren Aronofsky.
It's super good.
Yeah, we should probably try and describe it again. So basically, Hugh Jackman and Rachel Weisz are basically playing these two characters, and there's 3 different timelines. One that looks like way in the past, one that's present day, and one that looks like way in the future. But we're not really told how they relate. The story is that
Besides the casting.
yeah, they just look like the same people, but nothing really seems to be similar. But
Is that future timeline the future, or is it something else? Is it some kind of like mindscape or purgatory? I mean, let's not forget that there is this theme. There's a theme run through it with like a ring. So like he uses a fountain pen to tattoo a ring to his wedding finger,
yeah,
but there's also an actual ring in one of the other timelines.
yeah.
And so they do feel connected in some way.
Well, I think they are basically because if you remember, she's writing in the novel in the present day timeline, and he has to finish the novel for her when she dies. So what we're seeing in the future could just be
Yeah, that's
a
right.
visual representation of the novel, because we could look at it in a realistic manner. The past story where the guy finds the tree of life and like the fucking plants sprout out of his mouth. That could just be the precursor to the final part, with the middle part not really being involved, or all 3 could be part of the novel. Or you could look at it as the character from the beginning is the same character all the way through all 3 timelines, which would be pretty unbelievable because Hugh Jackman's character in the present day timeline obviously isn't an old conquistador.
Or what if it's the author? What if the third timeline is just the author, this godlike being that presides over the story?
What is in
No, Tobias.
presiding over? Yeah, I think that's a
No,
bit
Tobias.
too. That's a bit too
I
film
just think
studies
it's
essay.
interesting that it's a fountain. I don't know. I just think it's interesting that the film is called The Fountain, and there's this fountain pen that is used to tattoo the ring, and I just think there is this theme of penmanship throughout. Maybe it's
But
this
listen, I'll
this
tell you what I think
author,
the
this
story is.
authoritarian figure.
This is what I
Go
think
on.
the story is. So the past story is her novel, the conquistadors finding the tree of life. The present day story is Hugh Jackman and his wife. He's searching for the cure for cancer so that he can help his wife survive. His wife dies, but then he finds the cure after she dies, and he then basically figures out a way to live forever. And then if you see in the future one, he's got the original ring tattoo plus about 1 million other ring tattoos. So that's obviously each ring is probably each woman that he's fallen in love with or gotten married to over the years. And what we're seeing now with him in this bubble with the tree of life is probably like thousands of years in the future, when he's sort of because remember as well, we're talking about this because of the soundtrack. The scene that I love the soundtrack for is when he is in the future in this bubble. I'm saying it's the future. Let's just say it's the future. He's in the bubble. He's obviously transcended beyond what a human is because he's been living for so long, and he then does that. I can't remember what happens. Does he fly into the sun or something? And he gets blasted, and there's that really epic scene where the light's shining down and it's blasting his body. I think that's what he's
Yeah.
doing. Yeah, because he wants to die. Yeah. He wants to finally die, so he's flying himself into the sun. And that final scene when he blasts into the sun, the music that's playing is just so fucking awe-inspiring and amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good soundtrack and a good movie.
Mm.
I highly recommend it to anyone listening who hasn't seen The Fountain. I think maybe Aronofsky's best film.
Fucking, that's a hard decision. Have you seen The Whale yet?
Yeah, I have seen The Whale. It's great.
Is that good? I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. It's very good. It's definitely. It falls for me. It falls in the same category as Black Swan and The Wrestler. But I think Black Swan and The Wrestler are better films. But I still think The Fountain for
Right.
me is my favourite of his.
Did you see Mother?
Mother, is that Aronofsky?
Yeah, that was his last film
No,
before
with Jennifer Lawrence.
before
I
this.
have seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
What do you think of that?
I like that. Yeah, I didn't quite get it. I've only seen it the once. I'd have to watch it again.
It's a film. It's basically you have to come up with your own interpretation for what it all means. It's a puzzle, and I
It
don't
seems
think
very
it's like
Lynchy.
yeah. It's a David Lynch. It's not. I think only he has the meaning in his own brain, and it's made so that you can just come up with your own meaning for it.
All right, is it my turn? For is it the last
Yes.
soundtrack? Yeah.
Last soundtrack, I think.
So for my last soundtrack, I've gone for something really obscure, Blake. Do you remember me? You know how I'm quite pretentious, and so I'll listen to things
No.
and watch things. I'll listen to things and watch things that no one else likes. And
Yeah.
do you remember my favourite band, Sparks?
Sparks.
Mm-hmm.
No.
They're my favourite band. I'm definitely showed you them before. Well, they've been around since like the 70s, and my favourite album of all time, Indiscreet by Sparks. They don't have it on Spotify, which is really annoying. So I listen to everything else that they've got done on Spotify, but that one album you can't listen to it, and it's my favourite album of all time. But they're like experimental pop. I don't really know how to categorize them really, but they're really good. I love them, and they've recently. So I
Oh,
think
I know who
maybe
you're talking
10.
about. I know who's. There's like a. I'm sure there's like a documentary or a biopic about them on
Yeah,
Netflix or Amazon or
Edgar Wright.
something.
Edgar Wright directed a documentary about them because they're his favorite band as well,
Yeah, that
and
must be
he
what I
made a
saw. I didn't watch
documentary.
it, but
I mean, I'd recommend the documentary because it really does sum up a lot of their back catalogue. But then, like, if you watch that and then you said to me, okay, what's the best things for me to listen to? I'll tell you what to listen to that isn't in the movie at all. Like, I really like the band. I'm a big, big fan. Even their newer stuff, I really like. They're still going now. They've got like 30, 40 albums. It's nuts, their
fucking
output.
hell.
10 years ago, they recorded an album and then they showed it to this filmmaker who's a friend of theirs. And they were like, what do you think? And he was like, okay, don't release this. This album is my next movie. So after like 8 years, they finally developed the movie. It's called Annette. It is a musical. It's got Adam Driver in, and the Talia Al Ghul from Dark Knight Rises. Forget her name and forget her actual name.
Oh right, yeah.
Marion Cotillard, I think her name is. Anyway, uh, the movie itself is pretty wacky and weird. It's pretty avant-garde. I love it. The soundtrack is very like it's not the best stuff that Sparks has ever written, but it's certainly their personality, and their personality is definitely present within the whole film, even when their music isn't present. So I really like the film for that reason. I'm a huge fan of the band. I like the movie, so I'm taking the Annette soundtrack just because it's my favorite band and they have a movie soundtrack that I can pick. So I'm picking it.
Yeah, nice.
They're my favorite. All right, that leads us to the last film. So Blake, What is your last film that you're taking to your
Okay.
desert island?
My last desert island, because I went with comedy last, I've got to go back with like. Oh, can you hear me still? Sorry, my
I can hear you.
screen turned off. I had to go back with the depression again. So we're skipping back to the sci-fi universes, and it's District 9. Another film
Ooh,
I
good
can
choice.
just watch like millions and millions of times. In fact, I did watch it millions and millions of times in college.
My
Every time someone new came around, I was showing it to them. I was like, "Mate, have you seen District 9? Nah, it's jokes, man. Trust."
it is really good. I've got a lot of South African friends, and they're quite impressed with my Afrikaans accent. And I always say to them, I'm literally just doing the dude from District 9. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not basing my Afrikaans accent on my knowledge of Afrikaans culture or any of that. It is solely I'm just doing a
Yeah,
phonetic impression of the dude in District 9.
just channeling
But
Vickers van der Merwe.
yeah, I don't know his name, but
It's
uh,
Vickers van der
the thing is,
Merwe.
my my South African friends are that they do say your Afrikaans isn't bad. That I've had gotten credit. They're like, it's better than Leo DiCaprio in Blood Diamond. I'm like, oh, I'll take that then.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Oh, I thought
And
that was the pinnacle. I thought that was what we
I'm
were
not
aiming for.
I'm not even going to I'm not even going to try and make it like I'm not even going over the top. I'm just going to make it as natural as I can. And you psychopus. Any South African people out there listening, psychopus, you know what I'm talking about. No, I tailed off a bit there. In all fairness, it wasn't perfect that, but it popped like a popcorn. That's how I started doing my Afrikaans accent. Just doing pop pop like popcorn from District 9. It's a really good film. And to think that didn't that film start off? It was meant to be a Halo movie, and they had to
Yeah, I
change
think
it
it
at
was.
last minute.
Right,
Really
here's
good,
the thing,
really
right?
good.
So Neil Blomkamp, the guy who directed it, it was originally supposed to be a Halo film, and then he like whatever they lost the license because I think Steven Spielberg decided he wanted to do something, and they gave it to him. And then so then basically Neil Blomkamp used the stuff that he was using for his Halo film to make District 9.
Yeah.
Then skip to a few years later, Neil Blomkamp has pitched Alien 2.5 to Ridley Scott or whoever it is who owns Alien, like Fox or whatever. And it's basically after Aliens, and instead of Newt and Hicks, the Marine, instead of those two dying off screen in between Alien 2 and 3, it was going to take place then, and it was going to be Newt
Like
and
how they
Hicks were going to
died.
be alive. I guess so, or it was going to take off into a new continuity. Anyway, there was loads of like concept art and everything, and then they said, "Nah, fuck that. We'll make Alien Covenant." Fuck that. And then I don't think he even made anything decent after that, Neil. He's
I
made
mean, he
made
did.
Chappie and Elysium, which Chappie is good.
I like Chappie.
Elysium's okay.
Elysium
Um,
has its moments,
yeah,
but
and there's
Chappie I
that.
like.
He has actually got a film that came out recently that I didn't even know about that I saw, and it's called oh shit, I can't even remember what it's called, but it's basically a horror film about someone's got some sort of software that allows you to go into someone's dreams in a digital way, and it's like the whole film takes place in this sort of CGI dream world. And you know what he's like, he's always trying to do something a bit too sci-fi, and this film just didn't hit.
Oh, well, I'll have to find it. Sounds worth watching.
It's on something. I think it was on Amazon Prime. I'll search it up now and I'll find what the name of it is.
Yeah, I'd be interested to give it a go. I like him. I like his stuff. I do like Chappie, but District 9 is probably another perfect film. It's very good. And considering it was sort of pieced together with just scraps left over from a nearly Halo movie. They did a damn good job. It's a really good film.
Yeah. It's better than a Halo film would have been.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, this film I was talking about was called Demonic.
All right, I'll look up Demonic. I'll find it. Yeah, well done. You've got a completed list. Well done. Proud of you.
I'm ready to survive.
You're ready to survive. I mean, I'll just throw in real quick that also I'm bringing a sci-fi. I'm bringing a Scanner Darkly for similar reasons.
Oh, sick.
I can
Yeah.
I can just watch it 1,000 times. So good. So
I've
yeah,
not seen that since
well
I
done.
first watched it, but yeah, that was epic, that film. I'm surprised they've never used that sort of animation technique much since.
I know, right? Because it does it really works. I think
Yeah.
I think we once said, I think we were talking about Spider-Man, and you said uh, like you should make a Spider-Man film, but do it like a Scanner Darkly. No, no, you said do it like Sin City, but with but like fluorescent color instead of black and white, and it would feel like a comic
Yeah,
book.
yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, that would be good. But yeah, they should do more of this animation style with the Scanner Darkly, just like drawing, like filming something, but then drawing over the top. I think really works.
Obviously takes too much actual artistic effort to do something like that.
Yeah, it would
They'd
be a
rather
huge undertaking.
just send it off to the
That's the thing.
CGI factory. CGI it.
Yeah, well, this is what Disney are doing now. I guess they've abandoned. I don't think Disney have just made a cartoon in years. Like I can't think of a Disney cartoon movie that has come out for ages. It's always been a live
Oh
action,
yeah.
or
That's a good point.
or they do the CGI thing, but never cartoons. Give me some more cartoons. I mean, like if you did like a remake of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like you couldn't do it about cartoons now. You'd have to do it about CGI and shit.
Yeah, what about wasn't that Space Jam? Wasn't that a half cartoon,
Yeah,
half
but that's
film?
Warner Brothers. That's Warner Brothers.
What's wrong with Warner Brothers doing it?
Nothing's wrong with it. I'm saying Disney aren't doing it.
Oh right, yeah.
I mean,
And
Warner
then
Brothers.
having one or two characters in a normal film doesn't really equate to having a cartoon either.
I mean, look, I think Looney Tunes is probably one of Warner Brothers, still one of their biggest money makers. I'm sure.
How are they making money from that, other than people buying Bugs Bunny merchandise?
I mean, surely the cartoons are still going. Surely they're making money out of that still. And like Space Jam's a cartoon. Well, no, they go CGI, don't they? I think. I think the new one they're all CG.
Yeah, from what I saw, it did look like a typical.
Oh, that's annoying.
Typical. We can't be bothered to animate this, so we're just gonna chuck in get a CGI artist to make it look like a cartoon. Oh, yeah, did you hear that John Earl Jones sold off his voice to Star Wars for like the next 1,000,000 years or some shit?
That's actually going to come up on the podcast. Me and Craig talk about that in the next episode on the podcast.
Oh, I read your mind.
And the thing, I was going to upload this first, so you've literally like you've spoiled an element of the next one.
Sorry, coming soon.
Two thumbs up. Well done.
You can
Well
cut
done.
it out.
I'll give you that. No. We'll keep it in. It's funny. Sorry, Craig. It was Craig's news to tell as well.
Sorry, Craig.
It's gonna sound so disingenuous on the next podcast when I'm like, oh my god, I had no idea.
That's amazing.
This one's gonna come out first.
You can just put
that's brilliant.
You can put a disclaimer at the beginning like, "Hi everyone, Tobias here. We actually recorded this before we recorded the one with Blake. So if I sound
the thing is
surprised, it's because I actually am surprised."
And on that bombshell, I think that's been an excellent little recording there, Blake. Thank you for joining me today on Film Shrapnel. We're going to definitely get you back with Craig next time.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Do remember to follow us on Twitter, everyone, at Film Shrapnel, capital F, capital S. Blake, what are you up to and how can people find you?
If you like the sound of my voice, then you might also like the sound of my music. It's at WAKENBLAKE DNB on Instagram if you want to follow me, or just type in Wake and Blake on Spotify. Cheers.
I mean, we have a piece of Blake's work that we're going to show you guys now to end the episode. Please do follow him. He's one of my best mates and a really talented musician, so check him out. Until next time.
Not quite.